Okay, sure. Okay, so good evening, guys. Can you guys hear me? Sure, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Okay, brilliant. Mr. Abiola, is he here? Okay, he's here. Good evening, sir.
Hi, how are you?
Very fine, thank you, sir. Thank you for this opportunity. Let me quickly just take 5 minutes and just explain to you what we're trying to do here.
Okay.
Okay, so basically, this is an offshoot of two platforms. The Alvin Report. The Alvin Report is an online newsletter that allows very intelligent people have intelligent conversations about leadership, business, and economy. And then we also have the Duke Summit, which is a WhatsApp group that discusses Nigerian politics and also economics and international finance. Now, these two platforms pull some of the most brilliant Nigerians into the space. You get so we have players from all sectors of the economy. We have players from all sectors of leadership and all of that. So every Sunday since we got close to 2023, this election period, we've been bringing some very interesting people to this session. We've had people like Pastor Ito Agudalo, we've had presidential candidate of ADC, Chuka Monye, we've had Ruben Abati, we've had Gabriel Beche, we've had Magnus Oyibe, and so many such people, right? Tope Fashua, and all of that. But this all now is generating a lot of interest. You understand? Generating a lot of interest, from people, and we expect to have about limited to just 100 people, so that we'll have very concise, and robust conversation, and all of that. So don't let me take more of time. The format is very simple. So it's me and you talking for 30 minutes. Me asking you questions for 30 minutes.
Right.
Then after that,
Right.
I open it up to the house. Anybody that wants to ask questions will raise up his hand, and I'll allow the person to ask questions, and then you take it from there. And like we've agreed, you will have the last say. We expect to have this thing for 1 hour, 2 hours max. Do you get?
Okay.
Normally we have another session by 9 o'clock, but we're going to cancel that for you today because of the seriousness people are taking this particular one.
Okay, thank you.
So first and foremost, my name is Joseph Edgar, Shomolu, and can you just introduce yourself to our audience, please? Thank you.
Latifu Kola Abiola. I am first and foremost a banker by profession. I am from very humble beginnings. It sounds very strange, and I try never to forget that. Like I've said once before, I've equally been humbled by a lot of events in my life over the years. I guess I'll wait for the questions, and I can tell you about myself.
So exactly what you want, because you've moved away from being a very reclusive personality, to being everywhere. So you're on Arise TV, seeing you on so many platforms and all of that. But the Kola Abiola that I grew up to know, was very reclusive. Shy, media shy. Didn't really want people to know anything about him, despite the high-profile pedigree that he come from. So, what do you really want? Why all of this?
I am still very private. I try to keep my business very private. I'm not necessarily shy from the press, but I just know the press, and I've never been one to write on it, because you will always fall by the press anyway if you write on it. So I try to guard my privacy as much as I can. But lately I've had to come out and fight for a cause, which is to keep Nigeria united in many ways, first and foremost, to also change the narrative politically and disrupt the system in which we have to date. The only way I know how to do that is what I'm doing now, by making my points across, and then hopefully enough of us will listen and we'll make that change. I'm a believer, having experienced politics at a very early age, I think I know enough that I can bridge the divide and hopefully take that divide from where it is today to the end game, which is to change politics in Nigeria. I believe it can only be done with youth. That demographic group is about 62% of this population. And if they can come together, they can own this process. And all I'm trying to do is to get them to own the process and change the way we see and the way we vote and the way we pick our leaders. And I guess I need to bite the bullet myself, and that's why I'm out here. I can't preach to people. I can't try to convince people to do this and stay in the background. So I believe I will lead by example. I've always led by example in everything I've done. And that's why I'm here, basically.
Yeah. So what do you mean by bite the bullet? Can you be a little bit more specific? Bite the bullet.
Yeah, bite the bullet by going into, coming out and for the first time carrying a party card. I've never had a party card, not even under STP in those days. I've gone out and I've really researched all the political parties we have, and the only party that I know that can deliver on what I'm trying to convince our youth to do and get involved with in changing the dynamics of politics in Nigeria and the political space is PRB. And by actually physically going and getting a card, getting involved, in the last 3 weeks, I've preached everything but that party because I believe it's a party that can deliver on the vision I have. And that's it. Whether I'm not quite sure what you meant, but if it requires me to go all the way to be running for president to do it, I will. Just to be able to show them that I'm not shying away from anything. I believe in what I'm doing. I believe it'll change. And it's not about me, really, at the end of the day. It's about the collective good. It's about us coming together and getting to elect the next generation of Nigeria, of political leadership in Nigeria. It's all about getting, like I've always said, my target is to get 35 to 40% of all elective offices elected in this next election. And the only way I can do it is by leading. It's not about me necessarily winning an election, but it's by me showing you that I believe in what I'm preaching enough to go that far.
What's your politics? I mean, left?
My politics, I'm a social democrat in many ways.
Okay.
I'm not extremely to the left. I'm certainly not to the right, contrary to what people think I am. I'm not a capitalist in any sense of it. I'm a social democrat. I'm center left in many ways. I believe in social services. I believe in social democracy. I believe in politics and economics for the collective good. And I think, like my dad was saying, you'll have to help. You'll have to bend to pick up somebody to help them. And I'm a strong believer in that. We have to get out of our comfort zones and get involved to please make a difference. That's what it is.
Wait, so are you going to declare?
Yeah, I will at some point. Yes.
At what point?
Very soon. Very soon. But we'll see how
so why now?
Sorry, why now?
Why now? Why now? Why not earlier?
Why now? Or why not you?
Yes.
Well, if
No,
you
why
can do
now?
it,
Why
I don't
now?
mind.
Why not earlier?
Oh, why now? Well, for a couple of reasons. I've fought so hard over the years to get recognition for the 1993 election. I got that about 3 years back by giving the GCFR title to the leader MKO. And a year after that, it just occurred to me that, we ran the path. Now that we have a swearing date of June 12, 2023, it will be exactly 30 years of that election. It would have been exactly 30 years that we had the perfect election in this country. And I felt I should at least do something to get us as close to that election as possible and get involved to mark that 30th year of that election. And that's what got me going. And I have in many ways thought about it over the years. I have planned for it over the years. I just was looking for the right stimuli to do it, and I think that's what it is.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Now, I'm going to take this team off a lot of people because a lot of people want to ask you questions pertaining to June 12 and all of that effect just yet. So I will give them the opportunity. But let me ask you, the day that election was annulled, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, so the day the election was annulled, where exactly were you?
I think I was in Abuja, if I recall.
Okay.
Yeah, I was in
Abuja.
Hold on.
So what was the response like? You know, the initial response.
My reaction.
Yeah. From were you with your dad when it happened?
I wasn't with him that day. We kind of saw it coming because of the delays and the information gathering we had. So we kind of saw that coming. The continuous delay of the Taraba elections which was the last election results. We definitely knew something was wrong, and we didn't think it would go as far as an annulment. But prior to that, I had gone around a lot of people trying to salvage the election itself. And speaking to a lot of people, trying to break the gap and bring the two players together, IBB, MKO, once or twice, well, twice actually. I also met with IBB personality back then to try to bridge the gap and find some solution as a means to avoiding a total annulment. That didn't work. It seemed to have made up their mind what they wanted to do. So, but it wasn't for lack of not trying to bridge that gap. I played, I ran around quite a bit, quite a number of people to see whether they can intervene and help stop this. So eventually made that live address to the nation and not in the election. So.
Okay, let's come back to the now.
I cannot hear you.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, better. Yeah.
Okay. I said, let's come back to the now. What exactly do you think is the problem in Nigeria?
The problem, I think, is number one, I think over the years, we've had very often leadership. We've never really had proper leadership, to be honest. And the leadership also is not accountable to the voter. That is another issue we've had. And because of that and the bad leadership we've had, the lack of it so far, we've had people divide and rule. We've gone from the perfect election 29 years ago to one that's become very, very regional, very clannish. It's either clan, it's either tribe, clan, or religion. And that, not anything, is trying to separate and divide the country as a whole. We need somebody who can unify Nigeria and give it hope of remaining such. We need to solve the economics in Nigeria. The economics have gone south for ever so long. And we keep trying to wish the doomsday away, but it's fast approaching, unfortunately. And a lot of us have to step out and try to salvage. And I hope this whole movement will do that in many ways. But also, the changes that are required needs a true mandate, kind of mandate that we had 30 years ago. Because some very difficult and tough decisions are going to have to be made. And if you have a mandate, you have the strength and power to make those radical changes. I don't see that happening with the present setup. I don't see that happening with present leadership of all at least two main political parties we have. And we need to get it right this next election, or we're going to be into trouble.
Okay, so let's go back to your base, your home base. So I spent last 2 days in Abeokuta, and I went to Lumo Rock, and part of that tour, they will point out your family house. They will say, "Oh, from the second landing on the rock. No, sorry, from the third landing on the rock. The tour guide will say, "Oh, that's Ikija, which is communities around the hall, Ikija and Itolo. On the other side."
Hey, your audio is too bad.
Sorry?
Your audio is bad. I can't hear.
Yeah. Can you hear me now? Hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So when you climb the Olumo Rock, when you get to the second landing, you get the second landing or the first the last landing. You get the tour guide will say, "Oh, there's this community. This rock is straddling two communities, Ikija and Itolo, on the back." Then if you look further down, you see MK Abiola's family home. It's a green building behind the mosque and all of that. That's part of the tour. But if you look at
really?
all of that community, it's sorry to say dead.
Okay.
Yeah, brown roofs. You can see poverty everywhere. And with the kinds of prominent people that Ogun State has from your father to the Kutis to Obasanjo to the Shonekons and all of that, I'm sorry to say it's a disgrace. Now, how are you going to jump into national leadership from that kind of an environment, that kind of a sordid environment?
How do I drop into national leadership? From that environment, my environment is Nigeria. It's not Ogun State. It's not Abeokuta. That's one. Two, we at the height of our enterprise, we were the largest private sector employer in this country, and that included Ogun State. But we have, as anything else in Nigeria, in our case, probably more political than anything else, have come against some pretty awful obstacles. And a lot of things have happened in that period, nonetheless. But it's just a reflection. Your analysis, if you go anywhere in Nigeria, it's exactly the same thing. It's an analysis of what's going on anywhere you go to in Nigeria. Everything is comatose. Everything, even the public sector is not public anymore. Everything is in dire need of proper leadership and foresight. And that lacks in everything in Nigeria. Anyway, if I blindfold you and go to your village, I'm not sure where you come from. It's exactly the same thing. Ogun State especially is a state that is so close to Lagos. But now things have changed in a lot of ways. But Abeokuta is still very much political capital. But still, yes, a lot more could be done, but that's the bane of Nigeria as a whole. So yes, it's a matter of policy, it's a matter of growth, it's a matter of implementing some hard things that can change not just Abeokuta, but can change anywhere. I've worked as a person all over Nigeria. I've worked in Edo, I've worked in Delta, I've worked in Taraba, I've worked in Kwara, I've worked everywhere. So it's the same environment I face. I opened up zero to something in all those places, and it's the same things you go through. Everything has to be done private sector with no support from government, and that's how it works everywhere else in Nigeria. So there's a limit to what you can do as an individual, sort of stepping in there to make the difference. In our own case, we did quite a lot. We had done quite a lot in the past, but when you come up against government at times, it's not just a political warfare with them, it's also very much economic. So you have to deal with both. And when you're handicapped like that, like we were for quite a long time, it takes a lot to now rebuild. It's sort of like dropping China on the floor. If you pick up some pieces and try to glue them together, but some pieces will never fit in again. And that's exactly what it's like. So it's a matter of policy. It's a matter of having the right leadership and foresight to change things and make things work the way they should work. It's not any specific to Abeokuta or anywhere else for that matter.
Okay, so we have 10 more minutes to go for my own time before I hand it over to the public. Now, what is Tribe Nigeria?
Tribe Nigeria was set up 2 years back as a means to get Nigerians to talk to each other. Over the years, leadership has tried so much to divide and rule. They've tried so hard to put us along ethnic lines and religious lines as their own way of getting us to not discuss what the issue is with the leadership. So tribe was put together as a means to get us all, youth of Nigeria especially, to get us all talking. I'm not saying to know that, yes, we have different things from different areas. Zaria has its own problem, Sokoto has its own problem, Lagos has its own issues. But at the end of the day, we're only as good as the leadership we have in those respective states. And if you can come together and speak, then maybe we will understand that there's a common denominator there, which is a lack of leadership. And you will take a Lagos that has actually more resources than any state. But if you see what other states are doing with very little resource, as opposed to what Lagos is capable of doing, then you understand it's a leadership, not necessarily the amount of money available to the states. So the tribe was set up to do that and bring us and unify us as much as we can and discuss, and then hopefully we can begin to discuss our own solutions to the problems as we see them from a youth standpoint and from a generational difference take. And hopefully that would help disrupt as part of the disruption of the political space. And we'll get more and more of us politically aware and more involved. And hopefully we'll begin to run for office and chart our own destinies as we go.
Okay. Now, what's the state of the Abiola Empire right now?
The state. When you say the state, what do you mean? Some things are gone. Some things will not come back for sure. Yeah. Some things are still there. Some things are being built, and these companies didn't all start in one day. Like I said in the past, they were started over time. They were destroyed in one day, which is easier to destroy than to build. So when they destroy that, when it's destroyed in one day, it takes time to build them, and they will not all come. Some will never be able to come back for sure. Some will still be there to grow on, and it's a matter of picking what works for the common good at this point, and that's the approach we're taking so
far. Okay, now you had said that you're going to launch. You're going to very soon. Now, where would you declare from? Since you see Nigeria is your total wherever.
I don't know.
Where would you first take?
I don't know. I am still in discussions with people, with my party especially, more in the direction I should take and how I should take it. So the party nomination forms close in a few days, and maybe as early as tomorrow or Tuesday we'll have some answers.
Okay, okay, yours is definitely not 100 million naira.
No.
How much is yours?
10.5.
Okay. Now, what's going on in Ogun State? Let's go back to Ogun State as my last question. What's going on in Ogun State? The whole thing is looking very, very ridiculous with the number of people coming out for declaring for presidency in Ogun State, and you're going to join that madhouse now. Everybody's coming out in Ogun State. What's going on?
Ogun State is a unique state. Ogun State is the one state that the preponderance of leadership, national leadership, is always been from Ogun State.
Yes.
So we're not doing anything that we don't do before. We have the highest number of GCS files in the country as a whole. So we're just being Ogun State. We are moderate, we're tolerant, we have the education and understanding. We have everything it takes, and it's just what Ogun State is. It's nothing. Some say maybe it's the Odogun River. I don't know, the water from the river that crosses that, but I don't know. It's just Ogun State. It's just what we are in Ogun State. I mean, from Awo to President VP to date, they're all from Ogun State. So that's Ogun State for you. It's not. It's just so happens that that's the case, but so be it.
Okay, so do you have a relationship with Obasanjo? And do you think he has a role? Do you think he has a role to play?
I don't know, everybody has a role to play. As to how effective that role is in different scenario. Everybody has people they refer to and they ask for support and things like that. I, for one, I am more inclined to believe in the people that truly own Nigeria, which is the generation coming after us, or after me in this case, your generation, I guess. And you are the true owners of Nigeria, and I don't think you need anybody to tell you what to do. You're used to dysfunctional, in a good way, environment. You're used to change. You're used to change, but you also create change. You're used to disruptions. You're used to for positive reasons. So please, it's up to you, not really to. I think my generation, 20% of us, if we all vote for Nigeria, we can't change Nigeria. So you are the true owners, and I think it's up to you to understand that. Not just make your voices heard, but make your numbers count. So we can go around everybody who's somebody in Nigeria, but we're still one vote. We're still, yeah, we have some influence of some sort, but still, it's up to you guys with the numbers to make a difference. That's my take.
So will you pay me a courtesy call on the campaign trail?
If I get to the campaign trail, yes, I will see everybody that needs to be seen, but I would rather start with you guys first. And it's not going to work for any candidate if you guys don't buy in. That's the truth. We can go and see everybody we want, but if we don't have your buy-in to actually come out massively and vote, we're still playing the old political game, which I don't want to be a part of that for sure. I certainly don't want to be a part of that. I'm counting on the numbers. I am a Democrat as much as I believe in those numbers. And if you guys don't take up that PBCs and go and get the PBCs, I will not. The whole thing is of no interest to me. It's only of interest to me when we go there and have a fair, level playing field, and equal opportunity employers, they say. A level playing field that all of us can play and go and exercise our rights to vote. And if you are in the majority, if you don't come out to do that, then I wouldn't even start. That's the truth. And if I don't believe you will come out to vote, I wouldn't even start either. So all this jumping into running or not running it's not about me. It's about not just me running, but it's always about many of you coming out, a lot of you coming out to vote, and a lot of you taking part in the process and taking up the ballot. And that for me is the winner, not the presidency. It's to get you guys out and exercise your rights and not party all night on election day because it's a no-movement day the following day and stick all day where somebody's making your ballots. No, then it's a waste of exercise. We need you guys to go out. Maybe the night before, all clubs close for a change. And then you can celebrate after the announcement. If you like, celebrate all week. But at least you know you're taking control of the process. You know you own the process to elect your own. And then we will have change. Then it will be of interest to a lot of us. But many of us out there assume you will not come out to vote, assume they will get it the way they have always gotten it. And I'm not party to that. If I don't believe you will come out to vote, I won't even start. That's the truth, because I don't have the money to spend. I don't have and if it's a case of money, it's not to go and still an election. Then where's the money to make the change? So yeah, it's up to you guys to tell me whether you will, and then I will go and take the plunge. But it's and if I encourage you to do it, and you believe by being there will encourage you guys, because I hear it time and time again. Yeah, they're all the same. There's no difference. There's nobody to vote for. My votes won't count. My this, that. Well, if I have to take the plunge, just convince you that it'll count, your numbers will make a difference, then it's encouraging. If it's not, then there's no point in doing it at all.
Okay, so now I will start taking questions now from outside. But first, before I do that, I've seen some questions in the chat room that I'm not very comfortable with. I would like to admonish people to try and be civil, respectful. You know, we are all very passionate about Nigeria. And then Ms. Abiola's story is also very, most people are very interested in Ms. Abiola's story, you know, because of what happened in June 12th, during and after and all of that. So a lot of people are very violently passionate about that and all of that. So I would expect people to be very civil in their questions, and let's try as much as possible to stay on point on issues rather than all of that. So if you want to ask any question, just show by lifting up your hand. Shehu and I would allow you to take those questions. Let me read out. There's a first question in the chat box that I won't read out. I think that's quite uncouth, so I won't read that out. Now, someone says, "We love your courage to come on to liberate the masses. Stepping into the shoe at this point is just too apt to overlook." But then this person asked a question. Abiola Shegun Williams. He says, I don't know if it's a lady or a guy. Does he feel he has the mileage now, considering it's been a long time since 1993 and subsequently been almost silent since then? It doesn't show he has the capacity to lead first with the way Abiola's businesses all folded up and the family seemingly went into disarray. It will seem his temperament and personality are not geared towards leadership skills. Okay? Any comments, sir?
Plenty.
Okay.
I've dealt with a lot of this in the past, but I will try to summarize real quick because I want to give everybody a chance to take a shot at me. Look, I've said it before. You need to, at a tender age, I've had to deal with a large number of mummies and a large number of kids. Now, when the system fights you, and that's the military, the fight you had in all ways, to have survived that period for me, it was really very challenging. And I don't think it's fair for anybody to judge based on having stepped into that shoe. Look, everything from every business we had, including the airline, the farm, everything was shut down and the licenses canceled. Every little thing. And they moved military guys into every installation for years. And while they were there, obviously they were looting the place dry. That's not even the point. The point is that every step of the way, anything that even by, that had supposedly an Abiola interest was shut down. So people's private businesses were even shut down. That had nothing to do with us. For just the sheer fact that they had a name. And one example comes to mind, Kakafo Inn in Ibadan. I don't know if you know Ibadan well enough.
Yeah, you know Kakafo Inn, yes.
Because my father was the Kakafo of Yoruba land, Kakafo Hotel was shut down. Was shut down then. And the man had nothing to do with MKO. But the mere fact that there was Kakafo Inn was shut down. And there's so many like that I can go down. So there's not really, you need, and there's one aspect of it before the shutdown that I will never get into. No matter what anybody thinks, I will never get into it. My role in this is I'm the leader of the clan, and I need to protect not just the clan, but also protect MKO itself. So there's a bit of it that I would never get into. for my reasons and for the reason of the role I find myself involved in. But really, these guys treat us. It didn't even help when the civilian government came. Instead of helping us, they took away from what we had left. So when we can't fight, take for example my concession. It was taken away by they took it away one of the time away by the ambassador administration. I had to go to court, and I had to keep on adjourning till the administration left office before I could get it back. If I wanted to fight and make noise, would that have made a difference? But I had to be tactful about how I approach it, because I know to fight government, the kind of experience I've had to go through to survive that, I just had to be tactful about it. So I had to go to court, and I could go to court because it's a civilian government. I kept on adjourning till the man left office and the administration folded. And when the new guy came, President Umaru, I approached and I said, "This is my situation," and that's only how I could get it back. And at the time I got it back, it had expired. So it was another whole new process of trying to validate and make that of good standing. That's what it takes. So, you don't say much because you need to get things done. But I guess we always like everybody to be so. Look, I've never grown up to be a kid. As a kid, I've always been an adult from my primary school days, because I've always had responsibility, which has helped with my maturity over the years. So I would not go and play to the gallery. I will not. I don't. Yeah, that's the word. I won't play to the gallery. But what I need to do is to be mature in the way I handle things to effectively get the response I think I should get, and I think it's done me a lot of good so far.
Okay. So, Promo Media. Your question, please. Sorry? Promo Media. Your question. His hand is up. Promo Media. Are you there?
He needs to check his mic because he's allowed to speak.
Okay, let me even read out his question. He has sent this question. Ms. Abiola, don't you think this your ambition has come way too close to the election to have sufficient time pass your message? There are sufficient time to pass your message around in order to be accepted.
No, I don't think so. I think we're at a point where it's a convergence of a lot of factors that are coming together to play right now. I don't think there's any better time than now to make that change that is required. And yeah, I may be a little, it may be a little late in getting people to come out to actually run for office. But surprisingly, the response since I joined and the message about the vehicle to use, which is PRP, in my opinion, has caught on tremendously. So we have so many people picking out forms just because of that. And they're actually picking up by the day. So the more we get into this, the more I'm convinced that my target will be met, which is 35% of all elective offices. And because the entry level is so low, for House of Assembly member, it's 105,000 naira. For a senator, it's 1.5, I believe. For a governor, it's 2 million, I think. Yeah, something like that. So it's so low that if you really have the support of the people, this is your opportunity to make that difference. That's one. Over the years, because of the amounts involved, a lot of people who have the numbers and have the support can never venture to run. So they end up working for people who have the monies to give. But right now, I tell them, why, for once, do it for yourselves, because the entry levels are so low. Now, how do you disrupt the system? In this very one, you have to bring the barriers to entry down as much as possible. And in the present scenario, the barriers can never be as any lower than what they are to the PRP. That's one. Two, there are no legacy issues in the party. There's no big man there, big man somewhere that needs to go. It's always been a people-oriented party, and they've maintained that ideology to date. So you can step in there, get the form. You can never have been in politics and get that form and mobilize people to make that difference. That's the beauty of this. So yes, it's not late. Definitely not late.
Okay. So Clement wants to know what you will do differently from the present government that inspires and challenges you to want to contest.
Oh, a lot of things. Number one, what inspires me is a united Nigeria, first and foremost. I'm a strong believer in united Nigeria. I come from a background that's only option I've known. And not just that, it's a background that over the years I've seen played, a doctrine that I've seen played. I'm also a firm believer in the Nigerian know-how. Over the years, everything we've done has always been Nigeria-centric. Manpower, leadership in the companies, everything has always been Nigerian. In an area where we don't have the expertise, we bring in the expert. The expert is where we send our own for training. And once they come back, the expert goes back. It's been the case in everything we've done to date. Everything, including banking. Everything we do is about Nigerians. So I'm a firm believer in the Nigerian know-how. Now, if given that opportunity, which we will do in this party, number one, because we're going to be so transparent in the governance process, in the electoral process, where even if for some reason, if we ever get into governance, we're going to be equally our own hardest critics because we want to maintain things. We're doing things right. We're not buying forms from people. We're not creating another PDP or APC. No, we're doing things the way it ought to be done. And if we do that enough, we will change from the bottom up. We're a believer in management from the ward, maximum local government level. And that's where the grassroots politics is. And that's what we are going to encourage in this country. And that way, everybody would have his own representation. So we will do so many things different that will come to show that, look, it's not rocket science at the end of the day. It's about, if not anything, leadership and the will to do it uniformly and the desire to be Nigeria first. No selfish interest in this one.
Brilliant. Dr. Davis, a question.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes, I can. Yeah.
Okay, good evening.
Good evening, how are you?
Okay, my question is, apart from your ability to manage your father's legacy, which frankly, if you had not explained to us, I wouldn't have even known you've been doing that. And to be honest with you, I mean, it's an effort, and I'll give you kudos. Now, apart from that, what will you present to the electorate from Ogun State that truly these are your achievements over the years to warrant your coming out? Or are you saying you want to come out riding on the heels of your father? Because if I'm from Ogun State and I hear Abiola's son is coming out, frankly, and I have to be honest with you, I will vote for you out of sympathy. Not really out of what I know you have done. So what truly will you say you have achieved to warrant your coming out and to give to us or to give to Ogun State?
Thank you for the question. And you see, I hear a lot about this and about he's trying to ride on his father's legacy and so on and so forth. Two things. Number one, the audience I'm trying, of the youth, the election was 30 years ago. And a lot of us were not even present 30 years ago. And even we were so young to make a difference. So I'm assuming many of us don't even know, at least that demographic are not quite familiar with the legacy as such. So I don't come with that to fold. But really, even if I do, what's so wrong with that at the end of the day? Over the last 30 years, you've had a lot of names, and I mean a lot of names, right on the MKO name, right on June 12th, to get to where they are, and where they're trying to even run for president today, and so on and so forth. Nobody has ever accused them of using that MKO name. Nobody has ever told them, no, what did you do? What did you do there? There's so many, and there's a lot of our, especially in our zone, Southwest, and in the South, that are reading on that name and that whole June 12th thing to get to where they are today and trying to get more. Nobody's ever accused them of that. So Kola comes out today, and that becomes an issue. That becomes a point. Why? Because he's not out there screaming, and I'm not going knocking on their doors and asking for favors. No, please. Look, I've been brought up to be my own person. I've always run my own things. Even when my father was incarcerated, I think at some point at my 30th birthday, as a present to myself on my 30th, I registered a company called 35 Investment and 35 Oil and Gas. I never go into anything my father is involved with. But I felt one of the lessons from that exercise is we had all our eggs in one basket. All our eggs in one, at least mine anyway, all in one basket. I helped build those companies to what they are today. So anybody talking to me about destroyed, you think I would like to build something and they see it destroyed? I helped build them. When I came back in 1985, I had to restructure every single of those companies. They were not what they appeared publicly. They were more of a PR machine in many ways, but I came back and I restructured them and they were making money. Yeah, the goose that was laying the golden egg was totally outside of those. And that's why I said there's so many things about this I can't even begin to talk about. And I won't talk about them. But yeah, you had that perception, fine. The companies were independent of the person. The person can spend his money any way he wants, but please, the companies are independent. And I came in, stepped in, and I instructed all of them, and I got them all working. They were all working so well till we stepped into politics. We decided to run for office. It decided to run for office. We were on the wrong side of the fence and everything came crumbling. Is that my fault? Is that me? Even when the subsequent administrations came, was that me? It was a continuous of the grievance and the animosity. So it nothing to do with me. In Ogun State, my mother was a firm believer in Ogun State, Zedekayat. We did a lot of things that they shut that down. Everything was ripped and stolen, right? In Ogun State, we had Concord Press. We had so many things going in Ogun State, but we're really a national company. We're really a national, everybody's talking about Ogun State. We'd be so bruised that all we can think is our own clan, our own region. Please, this is Nigeria. We're in every corner of Nigeria, every local government of Nigeria. Be it to Concord, be it to the airline, be it to the oil company, be it to the farm, this thing, community Concord and everything. Look, we should stop being caged and begin to think like we're force A as opposed to B. What gives us the identity we have today is Nigeria, and that's what we have always been, and that's what we will always be. So yes, I appreciate you, our sentiments, and you must be a lot older than to devote our sentiment, but you forget that kids went on riot because they renamed Unilag MKO University. That's not so long ago. These are the same people that are supposed to know or have sentiment. No, there is no individual that have done more for education in Nigeria Nigeria than MKO. Why would such kids react to such a response? Although I told the government of the day that that's not the thing to do. They did not listen. But that's by the way. So please, we should just step out of that enclosement and see ourselves as a wider thing. And collectively, we will make it better. But I'm quiet. That's me. I'm not a flamboyant person. Even amongst my peers, I've never been. And that's my person. But I've always done things thoroughly. I don't just step out to do things. I think them through thoroughly. I just didn't step out today and say I want to get into politics. I didn't mistakenly get into PRP. I did my homework, I did my math. I'm a numbers person. And the art is in being able to interpret the numbers, not so much the numbers itself. And I think I did a pretty good job at that. I did that during the last June 12th elections. The role I played is known. I don't say it, I don't boast about it. Everybody says, oh, Kola, you have to write a book about it. Yeah, I will someday. But there's so many things that are still fresh about that in the game today, that I don't need to address now, but I will. Thank you.
Okay, so Deji, Adeni.
Yeah, Joe. Good evening.
Good evening.
Egmont, good evening. No.
Anna, how are you doing?
Very well, thank you. Okay, so mine is not a question because I know Egmont quite well. I used to be a banker. I managed radio communications, RCN, at GT Bank.
Right.
And it's somebody I've followed for almost 35 years. So Egmont, the challenge you have is, you are opposite of your dad based on your mom's upbringing. So many people don't know that. You're very private, very reticent, but you are deep. And I think you need to now work on that, seeking for public office. Because many people don't know that with the role you just played in 1985, coming back from the United States, serving in Zaria, living in the palace of the Emir of Zazzau, the late Shehu Idris, and then working with your dad on reparation and restructuring African Concord in those late 80s. And then the work that I even felt you will talk about, and you are just gapping over, was that Hope 93, you were the sole chief of staff to MKO. You ran that campaign both in Jos and the national campaign. So your extensive knowledge of Nigeria, honestly, you're not somebody can restrict to a regional place. Like I said, when I managed radio communications was in the early part of this democratic dispensation. So I knew what you went through to get these companies back up. The debts that were owed right from 1993, and I'm talking of the year 2000.
I paid them off personally. Personally,
absolutely.
I won't go. See, there's so many things I don't want to talk about.
I know. And yes. That's it. But let me tell you one thing, Egmont. The challenge is that the public knows you. The perception is that people know you more for not, you didn't take care of your brothers. Oh, you are sitting on the family's wealth. And unfortunately, social media has not helped because social media is very watery. There's no depth there. There's no rigor. So the truth is, we also know what happened in that space. We know the challenge and the responsibility you took. Because again, you were born July 1st, 1962 or thereabout. Yeah. And so you'll be 60. So if you look at the years, we know even as at that time, we're talking of 30 years ago, meaning that you were 30 years old. And then in those periods, you were in your 30s and the leadership role you took. So my admonition to you, Egmont, is that we need to look at that space. Because unfortunately, that's what Nigerian knows. That's what they believe you are. Nobody knows that you went to University of Lagos Staff School. And that when you were there even with the Vice President Anaki Olubade. And your mom was working in Yabatek. And you were living somewhere in Surulere and Shofidia close. And you used to trek from Staff School to Yabatek with Deji and all your brothers behind you. So there's so much to talk about you for people to know that honestly, for whatever it's worth, you can run for this office. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
So,
nothing I can say to that.
Yeah, Mr. Bella, I think you may have a little problem,
Yes, please.
which is very huge if you are going to make a success of your new of your ambition. You see, you're coming to the public to ask for their votes, and you're not just an ordinary citizen. You are Kola Abiola. So, and you were front seat, you were core to the most important elections ever in this country. And you are the first son of a man that Nigerians loved to pieces. So everybody, most people, hello?
Yeah.
Okay, so most people took June 12th as a personal loss. Personally, I also ran the Ikorodu Road, Onipan war zone during that period. Everybody took it as a personal loss. And I'm sorry to say this, you came out of that experience not in very good light to the public.
Yeah, because I didn't play
stepmother-
the role. I didn't play the role that I felt was. Look, you see, I'm a very consistent.
No, let me just make my point and let you talk.
Yeah.
So my point now is that so now you see now Nigeria is much more open. The social media that they just talked about now, for me, it's a very strong platform that you can use to change this narrative. But I hear you saying, even at this session now, there's some things I don't want to talk about. That's what I don't want to talk about. That's what I don't want to talk about. People have held onto this wrong narrative, as it were, for 30 years. And for them to now come on board with you, you have to talk about these things. Because you know the role you played. Someone like Deji knows the role you played. I don't know that. Most Nigerians who are going to want to vote for you don't know that. You have to talk about these things if you want our vote and our support. You must tell us the role you played. Because honest to God, I'm sorry to say this, your stepmother, Kola Abiola, has come out of that thing with very strong positives. Yeah. Your stepsister, Absat, up until this rubbish that she's doing now in Kogi State, had some very strong positives. Do you understand? But you, do you understand? You came out with, don't forget at that point you were having some relationships with IBB's daughter. I don't know how far that is true, all of that. So you came out as the man holding the short end of the stick. But from what we have heard here and from what some people know, that is not the true case. So you have to talk. Maybe not this night. Maybe when you launch your campaign trail, you have to open up. You have to be naked for us to see you.
Some things, you see, it's a case as, you know what I say, if you think you have very good clothes, you can't have enough, as many rags as an old person. That's the truth of the matter. Look, Duke, I've spoken severally about my role in that election. I've spoken severally over time.
Yes.
You see, the problem with a lot of these social media things is that nobody reads, but once you set the trend, they all kind of run with it, which is very unfortunate. Which is very unfortunate. But I have spoken about my role extensively. Look, there was a time at my father's burial when all the students came to the house, and there was this huge rancor in the house, and they were being instigated by other family members. We all saw it, we all know, and it was getting too rowdy. And I said, you know what, I'm going to go have a word with this. That's how I put it out there. I stepped, said, oh, don't go, they will beat you up, they will do this. I said, well, that's it. So I stepped out, went in the midst of them, and I took their questions one by one. One by one. And I said, I have nothing to hide. I've never had anything to write. So I took those questions one by one. We were at it for almost 4 hours in that compound. And by the time I was done, everybody could see that, you know what? And they kept on now confessing that they were instigated. I said, I know. But I'm not going to play the game as such. Yeah, maybe I need to start playing that game, but I don't think it's appropriate. Look, I did everything I did in total loyalty to my father. It's a pity, unfortunately, that he's not alive today to testify to what I've done and what I didn't do. Now, that aside, I've always said, everything that happened post the election, right? I've always been consistent about it. It's like when we had the legality, I told him that legality was wrong. And I told that legal team, we don't help us one bit. I was right. Even I told him that, look, I will not come to court till we change that legality. And that legality was part of the conspiracy against us. I said it, and I told him. And he admitted eventually when he told us to go and change the team. Look, and the same thing, the same guys who are instigating all the riots and everything, and the kids and everything, they were just using that, and I knew it, and I knew the roles they individually played in the election. I knew the role that the leadership in the Southwest played in his election. And I've said it before, they never ever supported MKO. It's the rank and file that we took off them to win that vote. Abacha's annulment, or IBB's annulment, gave them the upper hand again to now come forward and act as if they were protecting the vote. It's all rubbish. I know, I've seen through that, and I'm a little too hard in my views. So when I know this, I just wouldn't deal with it. I won't deal with you because I know you, and I will confront you and tell you. I don't have a problem saying what I have in my mind. It's never been my headache. I don't think any Abiola has that problem anyway. Look, it's me just keeping the peace because everybody needs me as the head of the clan to come out and say, and then how effective do we get at that point? My role is a role that has always shown leadership and maturity, even at my own expense. That's how I was brought up. Even at my own expense, that's how I was brought up. That's the discipline my mother gave. Even if my dad had issues, you don't interfere in it. It's not your business. It's for you to protect him at all costs. And that's what I grew up, and that's what I still hold on to till to date. So I can't change that. There's things about that I know that, or things that were done. I told you what, I paid all the debt myself at my own expense. Who am I going to thinking that the man will come back and then we can sort out? Who am I going to go and be telling that? I didn't have to tell anybody that. I did it for my father. So why should I go and be preaching around and talking about that? What, so you can give me contracts or what? I never asked anybody for contracts because I know they're going to rubbish it in return. I've been offered ministerial jobs that I refuse to take because I knew if I take it, they want to use the rubbish it. And I left it. So please, it's maybe we like playing to the gallery. I'm not that person at all. I'm not. And I won't begin at 60 next in a few months to start to change that. I don't. It's a bit too late. But some things would be said and have to be said for the sake of my own children. So nobody goes to them and point fingers to them and tell you, somebody did this. You know, so.
Good evening, everyone.
Because, and again, another thing, everybody's saying it's so late for me to get into this. Why? Because I'm not a politician. People are still announcing declaration until tomorrow. It's not late for them because they are politicians, but because I am not, it's late. You see, we have been abused politically. Our psyche has been abused. We need to see things very differently. The mindset has to change. If we're going to get to where what we're trying to achieve, the mindset has to change. Somebody walks to me and says, I will give you, I believe in what you're doing. We'll support you with this. I don't, If you give me money, you're assuming I want to go and steal an election. No. How many staff do you have? I know you have thousands. Please start by giving them an incentive to all pick up PVCs first. Then whatever you're able to do something, but we can discuss it. But without that, there's nothing to discuss. And that's how I do things. I have done my numbers, I've cranked them, I've looked at everything. And I'm telling you, this would work. And it will not just work. I can assure you for the first time, we're going to have the highest voter turnout in the history of this country. For sure. I know that. And it's not, do you need a seasoned politician to achieve that? No. Maybe you probably need a non-politician to achieve that. Something new for a change. Not the same rubbish. I'm not going down the same road. I didn't join any of those parties because I don't believe in them. I don't join them because I don't believe they will do things right and the way I understand it should be done. And don't forget, I have been there, I've done it. I've been part of that. I was part of it in 79, I was part of it in 92, 93. So I know how it works. And I know how to defeat it. And that's the only way I know how to is what I'm telling you today. And that's it. It takes somebody out of the box to see it. I'm not a politician. I don't do things out of sentiment. The vice president wanted to talk. I asked them. So, please.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Mr. Abiola.
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me? Good evening.
Yeah.
I know the role you played in '92, and I'm aware you won that election for your father. I'll repeat it again. I am aware you won the election for your father, but things have gone from bad to worse for the past 30 years. I mean, what are your solutions to the issues and challenges we currently face in this country?
The solution, you see, housing, security, health, education, infrastructure, massive problems. But trust me, if you don't get the political process right first, you will never have a change to those things. And what I'm suggesting is let's get the political process right first. Let us elect people that are going to be accountable to us. Let's give them the mandate to change and do the right things and the tough things to address all those issues. You have to have the right people in there first. It's not going to be business as usual if you all come out to vote. And that's the beginning. I can give you a lot of solutions, but if you're not in the driver's seat, how are you going to move the car? You have to have the right person in the driver's seat first. Not people who get there and spend the first 9 months trying to figure out who is going to be minister, or what is the 7-point agenda that are going to be required.
Exactly.
So this is what I'm trying to tell you. We will need to get elected people first. Elect the right people to do, who understand, who have done their homework, who know exactly. I can tell you today that if I run, I know exactly who's going to be my minister for 1, 2, 3, 4 ministries already. And that they're doing the work in that direction, and they will do. And we're not trying to solve everything, but we need to solve what takes what serves as a catalyst to begin to change things. This is where these are the kind of things you need. I was part of writing the agenda back then. We had a 100-day agenda, we had a 6-month agenda, we had one year agenda of things that needed to be done. The same thing on the Adwa group then, which I was involved in. But you see,
very well.
you need to have the right kind of people. You have to come with a mandate. Even then, if MKO was going to be president, if he could do the kind of changes he needed because he had the mandate of the people to vote. Overwhelming mandate, 54% of the votes. That's what it takes for us.
Very well, Mr. Abiola. And that's the challenge I have. That's the challenge I have. You say something along the lines of putting the people or changing the political system or getting the right people in the right offices, but you have access. You have access that a whole lot of Nigerians don't have. And the question I now put to you is, are they deaf or you are not speaking? Or they don't allow you
They don't respect
participate?
they don't respect the voters because they never got there by the will of the voters.
No, I'm talking about you as a person.
For
Can't
me,
you walk to these guys and say, you know what, you can still steal whatever you want to steal, but why don't you do it this way or do it that way? I mean,
look,
we are failing as a country.
That's another thing here. I have over the last 27 years, because in me personally, the June 12 didn't have a conclusion. I deliberately stayed away from political. Deliberately, I did not. Like I said, I had offers to be come and run for Senate, come and run for this, come and be minister. I deliberately didn't get involved in politics at all because I had that whole election wasn't conclusive. As far as I'm concerned, it only became conclusive when that GCFR. I mean, take the GCFR for example. Do you know what it took me to get that GCFR? Something that you got it. Something that you would have thought would be a no-brainer. A no-brainer.
But you got it. That's the challenge.
Yeah,
it's about persistence.
It took me from Advanced government to this government to get it. You would have thought it was a no-brainer.
Oh, you got it, Mr. Abiola. Yeah, that's the challenge. You have access that a whole lot of Nigerians don't have. So if you put in more persistence, you will get a lot more. And I think this is one of the things that you should dedicate the rest of your life towards achieving. Because whether we like it or not, this country has failed. I will say it again, this country has failed. It has failed. Anyway, it's up to you guys. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Can I just say something real quick, please?
Yeah, please, go ahead.
I don't, if government is a carrot and stick kind of deal, I don't go asking and talking to you, and don't because I'm looking for something, use that as a yardstick. So I go strictly for what I'm after and I deal with that. But if you start getting other things involved, oh, he's looking for this, he's looking for that, he's trying to get this, he's trying to. I'll give you a very quick example. The first one, but decision got in May 1999, I think it is. I can't recall now. I gave myself till December of that year to work with our government. And I wasn't looking for government. I wanted to be part of the privatization process. I went and I bidded for National Oil. I won that thing 5 times, and they kept on canceling it. I bidded for Nigeria Arab Bank. They canceled it. Even at the time, my proposal for National Oil back then, we even had MTN that was not even in Nigeria then, as part of our proposal, because we were going to sell their recharge cards and put up their masks in the gas stations. Even the National Lottery, we were supposed to buy it all up and give you a card on every full tank. Look, I did that and they chopped it down. Why? Because I don't know, maybe the government of the day had the preference of the South Africans, but I kept on beating the South Africans because they wanted to rebrand. And National Oil is a domestic brand. It's not a Shell brand, it's a domestic brand. So I figured the difference in the rebranding, and I kept on making my bids based on that, and I kept on winning it. Eventually, I didn't get it. The South Africans didn't get it. Yeah, it was called on it. Fine. But that is the kind of animosity and difficulty I get, because I'm not going to compromise myself. I'm not. The same administration that wouldn't tell me what I win legitimately wants me to be minister at the same time. How do you reconcile that? Or wants me to do this, do that? I would not mix my apples with my oranges at all. You know, so I'm very focused on what I do. And this is the kind, and how do you speak to such people? When I tell you, look, give this guy GCFR, you did not listen. You said to give him, and you know what? I even made it a point where I wanted it to come as an initiative of government. I didn't put it in writing till late, because I wanted to be your own initiative. You want to name the university, that boomerangs, and then I was forced to now write it. So you see, there's something about them when they get there. I don't understand it. So you better stay focused in your dealings with them. And that's how I've been. So okay, please, next question.
One wants to know if you have plans of bringing back National Concord.
Sorry?
Someone wants to know if you have plans of bringing back National Concord.
Oh yes, I do. I do, but it's not what you know it as. We're going to start with the largest circulating paper, Concord paper, or largest circulating paper in Nigeria as at then was the Weekend Concord.
Yes.
So we're bringing that as opposed to a Saturday. We're bringing that back for Friday. So it'll be Weekend on a Friday. Print. Then the Sunday paper is going to be a more formal, more political, more issue-based. The editorial will be on the front page. Front page with a satire to go with it. All other papers will be printed online. But we will start with 2 hard copy, which is the Weekend and the Sunday. Now, it like the old Concord of the past, those things will be available 6 a.m. in the morning everywhere in Nigeria. Now, we will have the online version during the week, and then we will slowly integrate backwards. Also, we're not going to set up a press as such anymore. We're going to we will be import our own specific type of newsprint, our plates and everything, and then we will contract process or contract print out of Abuja, Port Harcourt, and Lagos. And that's the format going forward.
Okay, so Falari wants to know if we can achieve anything under the present constitutional framework of the country.
I think we can achieve a lot. You see, there's a lot of things that have to be looked at differently. They were set up with particular specific reasons, right? Those reasons have been outdated with time, and we haven't evolved the laws and the approach to such things considering the present environment. It's like our NYSC, for example. I said for one thing, it's been one, but it needs to be looked at all over again and redesigned for one. Setting up all those forms that were set up. How do you use those monies? Do you use them for your local governments, or do you use them for your states? Or all those things have to be redirected, and I have a comprehensive paper on that. Still within the rules, still within everything, but it has to be refocused. It has to be applied a lot differently. And we're working on a framework that still allows for within what we have to make it happen. Now, how do you address other things? That also needs a lot of strategy, which I'm not, which I have the answers to, but I don't think it's relevant for this discussion today. But we will get to it sooner or later. Yeah.
Okay. Any questions for Larry? What you want to ask? Is it different from what I just read out now?
Didn't do justice to my question.
Okay. What's the question again?
Yes, I wanted to have your take on perhaps the most controversial debate of the time. which is, do we need to restructure as a necessary panacea to the problem we have? Or do you think a change of personnel, in other words,
Sorry?
we had a change of personnel, or in other words, good leadership can solve a problem even within the current constitutional framework?
I believe so, actually. I believe so very much. You see?
What do you believe?
Good leadership. Yeah, I believe that. You see,
We don't need a new constitution.
not necessarily we don't.
Good.
We don't.
So
Not
let's
necessarily
hear
we
your view
don't.
on that.
Sorry?
Let's hear your view on that.
Yeah. You see, many of us talk about all this structuring, but what you end up having is setting up smaller entities that are doing exactly the same thing that is being done in the center. It's just localized. So you still have your one man running the whole show in the middle and all these kind of things. But no, what you need is leadership that is seen to unite. First of all, at this point in Nigeria, we need to unite. That's one. Two, you need, how do I explain this? You need to, no matter how you split it, if you don't solve the economics, jobs. You see, we all have fixed positions right now because of the way the economics position is. If this country is where it should be, we would have a lot easier process to begin to implement what it takes to go from the bottom up. And that's really where that's why I've always emphasized elections or leadership from the ward and the local government or the state assemblies as very important, because you have to come bottom up and then let us fund them. Even the way the constitution is today, it's so difficult even for the local government. It takes an executive order which has been challenged by the same governors. So it needs strong leadership. It needs it needs you to look at the laws and look at how they're implemented, and as opposed to how they're meant to be implemented. Everything is just been hijacked and everybody's just not implementing it according to the laws as laid down. If you can do, it's like the criminal offenses in Nigeria. Everything is in the book, but nobody's looking at implementing the laws. Nobody's. We just do things like we don't have the laws of the book. But the day the system wants to work against you, they will remember that we have these laws that can be exploited to tuck you away. But it's the same thing with how we run administration in Nigeria. We have multiple same entities doing multiple things that only one entity can address. Why? Because we've dissected it in a way that allows us to, or the government of the day, to use another quasi-government entity to implement its own program. Why should that be the case? All we should be doing is over time strengthen our institutions, but no, we would just set up another body, and many of them are not even set up by law. So it's just, we tend to just run a government within a government within a government, and that's what is polluting the whole process. If we could just streamline things, make the law do its thing as expected and implement them as expected, things will be a lot better. And then we can address, once economics is also addressed, then we can go into the more thornier issues.
Okay. For Larry M.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah. So there's a second for Larry. I want to ask a question. So for Larry M. For Larry. Okay, let me ask. Mr. Abiola, what's your take on Tinubu? Vis-a-vis his ambition, where he's coming from?
I have nothing against his ambition.
No, I'm not asking you. I'm not asking if you have anything against it, but you have an opinion, just like every Nigerian. What do you think?
He has the right to run. it's like it's look. Yeah, he's free to run. He has the right to run. He believes he's earned his place. So please, why not?
Okay, no problem.
I don't know what else I can say than that. Yeah.
So you're choosing your words. No problem. Fulani, are you ready to talk now? Fulani,
Yeah, I wanted to ask that did it truly betray MQ?
did who
And
betray him?
what do you mean by that?
Because of what I saw.
Oh, okay, there was this article going around. This was an article that this was interview I gave many years back.
Yeah.
And I never, ever used the word betrayal. Never, ever. Not once in that, but this is political times, so everybody plays it with a lot of spin. Everything you say with a lot of spin. What I said was very simple back then, that look, when the Abacha government came in, which if you go back to that, if you go back to that interview, what I said back then was yes. The governor wanted to be a civilian administrator. That he said no. Abacha said no to civilian administrators. He said he would, okay, in that case, have a deputy. Abacha said there will be no deputies at all, which, if you recall, there were no deputy governors back then. And he now said, okay, he doesn't mind being a commissioner, but at that point, it was between him and Agbala Jobi, that's the name, yes.
SDP.
No, yeah, they were both SDP, but Agbala Jobi was from the Jakande group. I think the governor was from the PF. Yeah, group. So eventually, anyway, Agbala Jobi got the commissionership. So that's what I said. So I think that's what I said. I never would lose the time. Nothing about betrayal or anything I said. That's exactly how I put it. So yes, I saw that coming up lately, and people picking up a lot of. And I never used the word betrayal. What I said in that interview years back is exactly what I just told you.
Okay.
Okay.
Somebody says, Mr. Abiola, there's no better time now than now. You have started a good initiative, and I must commend you. Well done. Now,
Thank you.
let me ask you. Post 2023.
Yeah.
God forbid it, we don't succeed. What's your plan? Will you go back to your business, or will you continue to push?
No, I don't have, at my age, I'm retired. All I have to do now is I hope to retire at 60. So I'll be 60 in a few months. So all I can do now is make sure that Nigeria stays one and things change. But you see, it's how do you define success? Some of us, it's a lifelong ambition to be president. Some of us, it's not. Some of us only know that we win by being in the villa. We forget about the party. The party is just a vehicle as a means to an end. We don't care whether the governor gets it under a party or not, as long as I get my win. For Kola, that's not my brief. My brief is to make sure that I get as many of us, especially the demographic group I've been speaking about, to get involved and come out to vote. As many of them elected as much as possible. We have young people coming out in Kano, in Katsina, even have people who have given up in Ekiti in politics who are coming back into politics because the PRP does too. And so on and so forth. That was just come in and stamp our presence. I would, and that for me is the ultimate thing. If I can get that 35%, 40% in there elected, I think I've won. Because I know after 2023, with or without Kola in the villa, politics will never go back to being the same again. And that for me is an achievement. It's not It's that simple. And it's the beginning of change. If I achieve that, then I think I've done well.
Okay, brilliant. So when we first started, the attendance was ramping up very quickly. So at some point we got to 100, we've dropped to 90, we dropped to 88 at some point. It shows that some people are getting tired. We've gone up back to 90, we lost 10 people. Now, I can see from this thing that I can recognize a lot of names and also cannot recognize a lot of names. A lot of your supporters here, judging by some of the comments that we have seen, I'm impressed by the disposition, courage, and drive of Mr. Abiola. And as much as I haven't seen a preferred candidate among those that have shown interest so far, I have resolved to donate my vote to Mr. Kola. Now, I don't have a problem with that. I will give you the last say, because just as we're going into the last 20, 30 minutes of all of this, so I'll give you the last say. But before that, let me also shoot you some other key questions.
Good.
Now, what's your relationship like with IBB?
No problems. I've never had a problem with him. I still don't. I haven't seen him in a long while, but I don't assume I have a problem with him. I don't have a problem with other people. I don't. I really don't. You see, leadership at times is not about being smart or being brash. It's about maturity. And I think a lot of the older ones, I think I've been mature enough in my dealings with them that I think I can just about knock at anybody's door and say my piece. So they've always known me to be very, very fair.
Okay. Now you see, and there, yes, you've approached this whole issue in a pragmatic way because of the things you want to achieve. Do you understand? But I say a small contradiction, and that contradiction is that the people you are hoping to support you, which is generation below you, my generation, we that saw June 12 and felt personally injured, do you get, may still not have forgiven IBB and his cohorts, because we feel very strongly that episode threw us back over 30, 40 years, even beyond the Civil War. When we see that you find it very difficult to use very hard language when you're talking about people like this who basically destroy the fabric of the country, it's a problem for us.
Well, unfortunately, to start make a difference in the trajectory, why don't you go there? Why don't we just all go out there and show them that, you know what, we're in charge now. We can correct your wrongs and show you that you are wrong. Do we just keep on? Do we continue to just keep stewing still soup, or do we want to go out there and show that, look, you know what? Despite that, we believe in this country and we will salvage it our own way. Look, the government has come out and to give him a GCFR. They've come out to make June 12th a national holiday, as opposed to the resolution that made May 29th a national holiday. It's a national holiday, June 12th day. It's the day the government is being sworn in. And not just that, the government has come out to apologize, not just to him, his family, but to everyone that voted back then, for having robbed us of the perfect election. Don't you think it's about time now that we just move on and go and show them that we own this country and we can make it better in our own ways? We can right where you've wronged, and we can show you that you failed. We can make a success of it. Come on. It's like saying, you know, we have all these generational problems in the Southwest. Your dad is fighting my dad, so I should fight his son. I should fight his daughter. or we're not speaking terms. For how long do we want to do this rubbish for? The fathers had their own thing. Me as the son, do I want to fight my father's enemy and then take on my father's enemy in addition to the enemies I have at my own level? I have, we all have, and our own contemporaries. Leave that, the fathers have done their own, let them sort it out. If they don't sort it out, well, it's up to them. But does that mean we shouldn't interact and move on? And for as long as we think like that, there's not going to be any progress. We have to get to a point where we just leave that behind and move on. Because if we're going to continue, this one is going to go anywhere. And not just that, that generation is in the minority. My own generation is in the minority. But the generation before, coming up next, is 62% of this country. And you want to continue to use the outgoing errors as an excuse? It's like saying that Nigeria is bad because the colonials did what they did after how many years? Come on, please. It's time to move on. It's time to have, you guys should now take ownership of the process and make that difference. That's what it's all about. Leave that behind. Make it part of your history. Learn from it and make sure it doesn't happen again. That's what we should be doing. We can't be stewing on that. We can't. I've never done that in my life. I've never held grudges like that. Never. I will know you for what you are and I move on. That's it. And that's what I'm all about. That's how I've been grown up. And that's how my parents even conducted themselves also. So why should I be very different? Please.
Okay, let's talk about the economy. Let's talk about the economy. Yes. What's the way forward on the economy?
Management. Look, there's some very obvious things that need to be done. You have to reflate the economy, you have to create jobs, but you also have to create infrastructure to make it work. And look, everybody says we don't have money, but of course we have money now. How about all the leakages, for God's sake? The leakages, they come from somewhere, or they blame Ukraine now. How can an all-producing country our size blame Ukraine for a lack of this, lack of that, lack of this, lack of that, when we still import it? The amount we pay in subsidies alone, it could make a difference in the lives of every Nigerian. So please, we need to take the appropriate policies at the appropriate time and not hop on excuses. The economy, you see, it's all psychological in a way also, because I remember when MK was elected, prices were dropping drastically because for one, they had faith in the elected leadership. They believed it could make a difference. Oh, it's importing rice, nothing like that. But even the exchange rates found up. Why? Because people had it in their head that, look, this is our person. We've elected this person. And no matter how good your economics are, if you don't have that psychological bit to it, it will take you a lot longer to achieve. So yes, that's why I said earlier on, all these problems we have, the day we have the right leadership, it will solve. Because psychologically, we're ready for the change. And we will listen till at least I prove myself otherwise. And that's what we should be doing. Let us, it's sort of like, we're all shareholders in this entity called Nigeria. Why should we act like as if, it's them? We don't count. It will not, your economy will not improve until you make it count. The solutions are there. They're there. I just don't want, they're very obvious to me, but you have to be in a position to do it. It's sort of like a guy who's sponsoring the whole village. For how long would he do that now? You need the system to do the right thing so you can help a lot more people. And
okay, short cutting. 2 more questions, and then us make a comment, and then you have last say, and then we'll thank you. So Nelson has his hands up. Nelson.
Yes, I do. Good evening, all. Good evening, all. Nelson is here. Sorry, I'm joining very late. I'm very sorry.
It's okay. Nice to have you.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can
Yes, I
hear you.
can.
Yes. Our guest today, I appreciate your intelligence. And I know I voted for your dad, you know, a very wonderful human being. And I know that if he was allowed then, Nigeria wouldn't have been where it is today. I mean, that is for sure. But it's like, are you relying on that crest to want to contest for the presidency of this country, on the crest of your father's popularity and his philanthropy then, to want to contest now, or that really you have something you want to offer? That is number one. Then my advice would have been that, yes, I love your guts, but why wouldn't you start from like Senate or House of Reps? I mean, I'm not too sure. Nigeria is not an experimental ground for whoever never had any experience. So want to just spring up and say, yes, I want to contest for the rulership of this country. I had thought that there should be a background. You want to have that people will say, yes, we can trace where he's coming from. I'm sorry I'm asking this, but that is just my.
That's fine.
Yes.
The first question I addressed earlier on, they say one is to be born and one is for you to reborn yourself also. So even if you come from a good family and you have a good name, if you don't, you have to rebirth yourself, I guess. But you know, I've always, everything I've done has never come easy to me. I've always had to earn everything I have, despite what everybody thinks. I've always had to earn it. And even where the equity is coming from the family, of my dad in this case, I had to prove that I can handle it. And I had to come back and make sure it works. I've had to earn my keep every step of the way. So I'm not, yeah, maybe I'm not in your face, but I've achieved in my own little right, I've achieved quite a bit over the years. And yes, I know I'm not riding on anybody's crest, but I'm so glad I have a father like you, and parents and a mother. I've seen that. But you see, and I addressed that earlier on, when all the politicians in Nigeria were riding on June 12th, riding on MKO's legacy, nobody accused them of riding on it now. So why is it that because I am MKO's son now, it becomes a big issue? Isn't that a little out of step? So what is so wrong with having a father like MKO and convince of that? Despite what I can do, I can't remove myself from who I am. I am MKO's, like it or not. So and so people say too much like him at times, but yeah, I am, and I have no apologies for that. So yes, if you're going to accuse me of that, accuse all the ones that are still riding on it and are still using it to get higher. Not me, not just me. But that said, I addressed that earlier. The second bit of it is that the Senate, the governorship, the House of Reps is still just a little bit of the entity called Nigeria. It's just a really little bit. But the state in which Nigeria is today requires a nationwide change. And that's what I want to lead in what I do. And I preach, or by joining PRP and all this, coming back into politics. It needs a nationwide effort to change the trajectory this country is going. And it's not, and you also just assume it's all about me winning an election. It's not about winning, it's about change. It's about destroying or disrupting, that's the word, the political space and its dynamics. I will not do that just with one little sport. Nobody will feel it. The elephants in that sport, on the ground has had. It will not vibrate Nigeria. So I really need us to all wake up in our own little space to come together to change this thing. It's not about just winning an election or wanting to win an election. It's about changing Nigeria as a whole and give it an opportunity to remain whole, have better leadership, and become what we should be as a country today. That's it. So let's understand that. I don't know if that answers the question, but
yeah. Okay,
it's okay. Yes, I'm okay with that. As far as you believe in what you feel you want to come out to do for Nigeria. In actual fact, I must say I am tired of all these old generation that have actually failed us. They have failed us, and there is no need to continue with them. I am not on the rich side, but I'm after how life can be better for my children that I'm raising today. And so, yes, whoever can come up, I want to change the narrative. I am there for him. But I was only worried that probably you wanted to rely on the name your dad had made to want to come up. And so, but I wanted to be sure that really you have something solid. I mean, from your own end yourself, that you want to offer. So, but from what you have, from your answers, I think I'm okay. But
thank you.
I pray that you have the structures across the divides, across the nation. If you have the structure, yes, I mean, why not? Some of us will be out for you with the little we have.
My brother, that thing structure is what I want to try to debunk. I want to shatter that whole thing called structure. At the end of the day, it's about your vote. Don't let any political party talk about structure, please. How many of us hold party cards for A and we're voting for the candidate in B or C? Does it mean because I have a party card in A, I have to vote for the candidate in A that I don't believe can achieve my objectives? What I believe C is better? So this whole structure thing, all this party delegate thing, it's the biggest, I hate to use that word, scam in the game. Look, at the end of the day, it's about one man, one vote. If you all come out to vote, you don't have to be a party member to vote. Please, just let us change that mindset. Come out with your card that day, irrespective of party, figure out who is the best man and go and vote. You don't have to vote for PRP or vote for Kola is run. No, just have the right to exercise and come out and exercise it. It kills all this structural business we're talking about. So please, let's understand it's all about that. It's like when people tell you, I don't think it's too late. They think it's too late because they're used to the way the party structure works. They're used to all this structure. I'm talking about votes. You don't have a party structure to vote. I mean, that's so-called structure. It's a limited number of people controlling everything at the end of the day. So please, let's disabuse our minds of all this and change the mindset.
Okay, sir. I have Austin Ifedi, and I will give Yemi Shodimu, my brother, the last question. But before I allow these two men to answer questions, let me quickly ask you something. Somebody mentioned daily.
I can hear you. Yeah, thank you.
Austin Ifedi, the last question. Then my brother Yemi Shodimu. And then after that, I will talk, and then you will now close down. Because we've done 2 hours now. We've dropped to about 88 people. So we don't want to lose. It's been a beautiful session. I must say, don't let us go through.
Thank you.
But let me ask you very quickly. Somebody has mentioned dealing with money now. Do you think that's a little bit opportunistic, seeing that only is campaign hope 2000?
I can't hear you, Duke.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yeah, better.
Yeah, I said Dylan Momodu, what's your take on him? Do you think that he's
Dylan is my friend. He's my very good friend. I have no issues with Dylan at all. My last interview with him, I told him that look, I don't believe he strongly believes in working with a party structure. fine. And I even told you back then that if people come out to vote, if the youth can mobilize and understand and appreciate the numbers they have, no party can stop anybody from winning elections. So it says, I told you that much in my last Zoom thing with him. And all I'm just doing is to practice what I preach, what I was preaching back then. And you know, yeah, he talks about the owners of Nigeria, okay? Like I said, that in that interview, the owners in Nigeria are the 60% that refuse to come out and vote, or refuse to have PVCs and refuse to use them. And what I want you to do is all go out and get your PVCs. First-time voters, the ones that have PVCs and never had a reason to use them, come out and you will see it will drastically impact the outcome of the next election. I honestly have no doubts about that. And yeah, like I said, everybody tells me, oh, well, nobody to vote for, no party is accepting all that. No, I've provided what I think is a vehicle to use, and I'm leading by example the best I can. So please, I'm not about to send kids to riot and then shoot and then I stay in the background. No, I'm going to be out there.
Okay, brilliant. Austin Ifedi, then Yemi Shodimu, and that's it. Austin Ifedi.
Yeah, good evening, everybody.
Yep.
Good evening.
Yeah, Kola, good evening, sir.
How are you?
I'm fine, sir. I have just two questions, and let me just make a remark that I saw you last at the presidential wing of the international airport in Abuja. When you came to see Obasanjo then, he had a brief meeting with one other president. But I'm sure you can't remember me now. Yeah, that was a long time ago.
It's a long time.
It's a long time ago.
The president from Nigeria, I think it was.
Yeah, from Nigeria, correct. Yeah,
Right.
we're at the airport together. We had a brief chat.
I recall.
Yeah, that is a good memory you have there. You look so much like your dad, but can you be described as a philanthropist like your dad?
I don't know. You have to ask other people to say to answer that. I can't. And then, yeah, in my own little way, I'm very much one. To be honest, I don't shout. I don't say. But oh yeah, I just can't. All I have to do is listen. I'll do the best I can, and I don't make a lot of noise about it. But if you want to put it that way, yes, I will say I am. But I don't have a roll call to show you of what I've done or what I haven't done. But those out there that I've done and I keep doing, someday they will all come forward and testify. And they don't have to, because as a Muslim, I do whatever I do for sabilillah. I'm nothing expected in return. I just do what I can do, and that's it. So I'm not. Do I see it as philanthropy? I don't even know, sir. I'm just doing what I'm in a position to help, and I do the best I can. That's
somebody is shouting here. FO. He says he sponsored my education in Dubai and US. He's more than that. Okay, now I don't know why you're having more questions.
Okay, my second question. My second question, please.
The second question, okay.
My second question, please.
Okay.
Yeah, Kola, you see, in Nigerian politics, you cannot rule out the very few people that controls things. Yeah, we can vote for you, but how do you defend that vote when it gets at the top level where things are manipulated? You know, I don't know what's your relationship with, with that level of people as it stands today, because you've been off the ladder. From my own view, right? Maybe I've not been checking up on your activities though. But you can see where I started my discussion from. During Obasanjo's time, I will say in a couple of places, I will say you know, in scheme of things, you know, that's why I mentioned that aspect so you can remember. But lately, I have not seen you in connection with all these politicians, the INEC. You can't rule out the manipulation of the very few people that is enjoying, you know, the bad governance, you know, that we have today, the corruption that exists today. You know, you can't rule that out. And they want to keep being in the system. Do you think they can trust you and want to work with you? Or do you think you have a connection with them, you know, that will make them actually, if you win, they will have the confidence to give this to you? And how do you see the candidature of Itobi in comparison to what you're aspiring for? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, Onion Diesel have been raising up hands since. Onion Diesel has been raising up hands.
Could I go ahead? Sorry. Austin, you see, even back then, I gave myself 6 months. And since it wasn't working out, I walked away from the administration. That's the truth. And because I went specifically to, what I was interested in was the privatization process. And that didn't work. Yeah, we traveled around a bit at the beginning, but when I saw the trajectory of things, I stepped back. That said, look, it's easy to manipulate votes if we do not come out to vote. I keep going back to that. If we all come out to vote, it's going to be very difficult, very, very difficult to change the results. And I want to believe that if there's a legacy that Buhari wants to leave, is to make sure he leaves a clear-cut clean picture. I hope so. I'm not going to assume, but I hope so. But when the change is about to come, nobody can stop it, even if you try. You can't stop it. And if we all come out and do what we should do, it'd be very difficult for anybody to steal an election. And I still stand by that. So please, wherever you are, whoever you can get out there to please go and exercise the vote. It begins and starts with that. The biggest mistake I made in 1993 was I never had a post-election plan. I assumed win the election, power will be handed over and everything moves in. I had no post-election plan. And only post-election plan I had to come up with was very haphazard. I had to engineer the tanker drivers strike. I had to, that long cyclic strike, I had to engineer it just to force the government and force Nigerians to uphold. But you see, that's another very funny thing. We all know the military and all that election. We had a tanker drivers strike. Now, that strike was only possible because I had to take the rank and file of the leadership of the Labour. The leadership of Labour then was very, for lack of a better word, very inconsistent. So I had to go down the ladder and take the Ferguson drivers to get that strike to work. And it cost a bomb to do it. But at the point, there's so much you can do against the treasury of the Federal Republic. So, but more importantly, the point I'm trying to make is that even these Nigerians that were supposed to be in my support were boasting as to how much they bought their 50-liter gallon of fuel. Was it about how much you buy, or just sit at home and cripple the government? I drove, the day I called, I told myself,
hello, I've been raising up my hand for long now.
Done.
Hello, I've been raising up.
The minute I figured I was done was when I drove by and I saw in Abachi Barracks, Nigerians on a queue to go into Abachi Barracks to buy fuel
Hello, can we speak? We have been raising up hand for a long time now. Can we?
I told myself, look, I don't think we're ready for this change. And that was it. So, yeah, we need to come out and vote and make it very difficult to steal the election.
Hello, can I speak? I have been raising up hand since.
Christopher, can you please calm down? Christopher, please, there's law and order here. Can you please calm down?
Okay, my dear. Okay, my dear.
Calm down. Thank you.
It's okay, my dear. Thank you.
So this is you know, that strike. God, so this time around, whoever's running must have a post-election plan. It's not all about just winning the election. And that's one thing I've learned. And that's why you need a party. You need a party that you have a say in. Because when it goes wrong, the party leaves you to go and defend your election. They never support you for that. They move on to the next game. The party hierarchy just moves on to the next game. They just leave you to go and fight your own election. So you need to understand that if you're running the party and own the party, then because half the time, maybe the powers in the party are part of the whole game anyway. So that's why I keep telling you, we need to own the process.
Okay, so let's allow it drops the pop on us here. But after that, I'd like to appeal to people. Yemi will speak last, please. This is an incredible outing, but we'll be here for 2 hours. So this Sunday, people have to go to work tomorrow. And we've dropped from 100 to 84, which shows that people are getting tired. And we don't want to get to a point where we have less than...
Is that switching off the lights in the hall?
Yeah. So this session has been recorded, and you can also join Tribe Niger. Mr. If you want to be part of the process, you want to be part of the vision, you can also join Tribe Niger. I think they posted. Can they maybe post the links again? They posted the links again on the chat box. I'm joining. So, please quickly your question, and then Yemi will speak, and then that's it. I will do something, and then Oga will round up. Christopher.
Hello, I am speaking now.
Yes.
I just want a comment. The comment I'm making is concerning Abiola himself, because I met him recently. I think I am standing with him because of the bold way he is talking. And he has gotten knowledge and wisdom. You know, this kind of knowledge and wisdom comes from pains and sorrow. From there, you can plan yourself. And somebody is talking about party. I'm from that party. I am one of the BOT in that party. And we have had a meeting.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Good evening.
Yes, sir.
I am in that party, and we have been meeting, and we don't have to say it openly like this here, but something is going on. And there's no way he can come out with all these connections and his knowledge, his wisdom he has gotten, and he cannot receive redress because he has been wounded spiritually and physically. So that is why I want to speak to encourage everybody. We are saying here is not in vain. Something is going to happen. I believe my God. And then the other one I want to advise is talking about certain things that concern the nation generally, because we must be very careful in what we say in order not to provoke any set of the people. We are talking about, when he's talking about, what do you call it again? Restructure and other things. These things need to be talking now. It needs to be done when somebody has gotten to the office. Whatever he wants to say, he can say it here now. But for you to say it now, it could anger some people. How you want to rule, how you want to do this thing, put it down and let us talk how to get in, first of all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Christopher. Thanks for that endorsement. Mr. Kola,
I hope you heard what I said.
Yes, I
heard
did, sir. I heard loud and clear, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, Edgar, can I ask a question?
Who?
Edgar,
Who's
can I
this?
ask a question? My name is Tayo.
No.
Just a quick one, just a quick one. No long story. Hello?
Go ahead.
Okay, I just wanted to ask Mr. Kola what his fondest memories of his father is. Thank you.
I think he really had the best heart I've ever come across. He was very, very genuine person. What you see in him is what you get. And if not anything, he really loves Nigeria. He believes in the Nigerian story. He's always promoted that as much as he can. And in anything he created, from Concord to name it, it's all about employing and creating the space for Nigerians to show their talent. And so that bit of it, the fact that he's a true Nigerian, believed in the Nigerian entity, I mean, it's one of the biggest things, legacies of MK. I could go into so many other things, but I mean, it gives me goose people talking about him because he was my father, but I was a dream mother too. So we didn't have to, in a room, we didn't have to say much to understand, but just mere looking at each other, we could tell what was going on and what the person was thinking. So we had a spiritual connection, besides father-son relationship. And thanks to my mom for that in many ways, because I don't go to sleep till he goes to sleep. I have to be the first person he sees, and so on and so forth. So that bond was lived and it was created by her. So I equally have to thank her for that. But, you know, he was a great man. It was him, but he was a great man.
Okay, so Yemi Shodumu.
Yemi, how are you?
Yemi Shodumu.
Yes, good evening.
Hi, how are you?
I'm okay, I'm fine. First and foremost, let me acknowledge the air of humility that came with you when you came for Babake Pray at Glover Hall. That was very impressive. You didn't carry airs around you. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
Now, you spoke tonight brilliantly. I followed this. And but one thing that struck me was the aspect of party structure,
right.
Which you tried to demystify. Right. I want to say clearly that the only time that I can remember, and I stand to be corrected, that the party structure was demystified completely, all the barriers taken off, was in '93. Nigeria had hope. And that led to the results we had then. But I'm a bit worried about the fact that I'm worried about the fact that, do we really need to suffer more to reenact what happened in '93? Nigerians rose with a voice. And this appeal that you made tonight about everybody stepping out to vote, it was like a friendly bug then. My question is, do we really need to suffer more for us to rise with one voice and say enough is enough. Because when people talk now, we talk like there are only two parties in this election. And we have tried that over and over again, and we know what the result is. Even in those two parties, there are good people. But I keep saying it, the kind of democratic process that we run in such parties will never throw up the best candidates. We have them in some other parties. My question back to you is, do we genuinely think, maybe like the Israelites being liberated from Egypt, do we as Nigerians need to suffer a little more to know where we are going, to decide when we are going? Do we need to wait till another election? An opportunity is coming now. Would we listen? Will we make the right choice? Do we still need to go back to those party structures that you have said we need to demystify, we need to de-emphasize to get us out of the woods? That is my question.
Thank you. You said 1993 was the most structured event, I think, the party structure. I don't think that's exactly right. If you recall, we came into the politics a bit late. We came after the annulment of the first set of primaries. And we walked into SDP back then as new first-timers. We're not part of the political setup at all. We just came in after the annulment of the Yaradua, Keleko, other council primaries back then. So when we came in, there were basically two factions in the party. There was the PF and the PSP. We came in as on the PF side of things. So we came in 3 months or so, 4 months to JOS. So we needed that party structure, or at least structure of PF, so to speak, in SDP to get as far as we did. So that's one. Two, we did that against the so-called governance group. And that was a Herculean task. But we defeated them and we made it work. But once the primaries was over, then we could now begin to appeal to Nigerians as a whole. Now, what I'm saying with PRP, especially as to one of the reasons why I picked PRP for the objective, is that PRP has always, it's the oldest party in Nigeria today. It has always maintained the ideology of People's Party. It's what it is or what is not. It's not what it should be because there's no money playing politics there. And as a result, we've not had enough intellectual people capacity to come in and build the structure. So because of that, it doesn't carry all the legacy issues that a good person would have to face in a PRP or a PDP for that matter. And it means that it's an opportunity for us to begin to start a new political beginning because we will go in there as a group, hopefully predominantly a demographic group that is used to disruption and used to change. And then collectively we can build what we believe is the ideal party that can move us forward. It's the Macron in France did that. You had people who had never been in parliament or been in politics going and they were all elected, at least the first outing. It was a little bit more difficult, but he's been re-elected. And it's not too late for us to do. If we have to wait till another electoral cycle, I'm not sure we will. You see, if this next election does not have a politician that is united, that can unite Nigeria as one and give it the strength to see itself as its own brother's keeper. I don't think we will have an election. It'll be too late the next electoral cycle. So we have time now to make it work. We still have time to February when the next election is. And it's all in the mindset. And I keep saying that over and over again, it's all in the mindset. We just have to make it understand that, look, this is one last drive to make Nigeria work. And we would only do that if we can get that demographic group, in addition to others, obviously, because it's equally important to all of us that this country survives, that we come out and force to make the change that's required. We can't be having elections where state governments only voted with 200,000 votes. I mean, that's disgraceful. Where's the mandate? There's the last election, I think, 120,000 total voters in the state. I mean, these are the fundamental changes that we have to have. All this will not take all by one vote. Stop. If you have an election and you don't win 50% of the the registered voters, we go for a runoff. Things like that we will have to look at. And we really need to get people involved. It's just about that. So I don't know if that answers your question, but it's not too late. I think we're all crying. I think this is the best time to make that change if we're going to make it at all. Because after this, we may not have the opportunity to make that change. I don't know, but it's pretty tough. But this is the time to do it. And let's just come together and make that difference. Now, somebody asked me about Peter Obi, I think. I respect him a great deal. I share in his thoughts. I think. Sorry? So
go ahead.
I share in what he believes. I don't think we're too far apart, but maybe we'll do some things differently. But we all believe in no money politics. We both believe in the vote, and we both believe in bringing out the troops. So from that perspective, I think we have a lot in common. Governance, I don't know, it's probably a little different, but yeah, I respect him. I know him very well. My kids are close friends, so yeah, I respect the man a lot. Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. So let's just have the last word. We're down to 73 people. So
okay, for me, yeah, thank you very much. And I thank everybody who has participated here today, and thank you, Duke, for giving the opportunity. I just want to say one thing, or maybe two, three things. There's a need to take this very serious. Let's all get our PVCs. Let's come out to vote. Number one. Number two, I have a lot of people walk up to me and say, Kola, we believe in this. We believe in this. How can we help? I don't need to tell you. You don't need to hear from me how you should help. Please just go out and do what you need to do to make this happen. If you're an employer, make sure your employees are registered. If you think you have somebody in your neighborhood that you think needs to be encouraged, it's very, very cheap to buy a form at 100,000 for local government, for state assembly. At least encourage you, buy him his form. Just do what you need to do, and let's have all hands on deck. I'm not one that you walk into your room and everyone calls you His Excellency. Half of them, they probably don't even believe in what I'm talking about. But I want us all to go out there and show them that, things have been done a little differently. And I want also please appeal, and I know I don't do a good job at this. Can we just look at the present, judge me as to what I can do for the present and what I can do for the future? All this talk about the past, my role, and this, I'm not a novice. I can assure you that. I was a polling agent in 79 out of 7 school. I planned, executed strategy, implementation of the June 12th election. I don't go out beating my chest about it, but anybody who was involved there knows what I have done. So I'm coming to this with a lot of experience and exposure at a very early age. All I want you all to do is, I want to bring that experience and understanding to play by holding the hands and building the bridges to making sure that there's an end game. Nigeria is so diversified. Even within the ethnic group, there's so much diversity. The only common interest we have is Nigeria. And I want to make sure we salvage Nigeria and make things work. So please, it's not about me. It's not about voting for me. It's not about voting for PRP. It's about voting for the future of this Nigeria. So please, just go get that PBC, come out and vote whoever you feel like, but be there to do it. And even if you miss out of the process, all just come out collectively and give the process the support it requires. So please, that's what I'll say. I thank you all for your time, and
Thank you.
Thanks.
Isabella, I'm very grateful for this opportunity. Let me just quickly say something here. I was once in the
I can't hear you. Sorry.
I said I was among those who were initially doubting your credentials.
Okay.
Based on what is now seen as my wrong perceptions, based on your activities post June. Mainly after post June 12.
Yeah, I can't hear you.
Yeah, he's breaking up.
Yeah, your internet is.
Can you hear me?
Okay, now I can hear you now. Yeah, freezing.
I think it's frozen.
Yeah, it's freezing.
Yeah. Okay, so I remember. Hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, so I said I remember meeting you for the first time in my life in my friend's house, my brother's house, O.M. White.
Okay, that's true.
Yeah, in Lekki, yeah. So he introduced me.
Can't hear you again.
That is what happens when you eat too much afang.
You, so you walk.
I'll finish it.
Sorry, your internet is gone.
And he said, you look at that. I said, oh, he said, Kola Abiola. Can you hear me now?
No, I can't.
Hello.
Then they abuse you. Say,
can you hear me now?
They say
I don't hear
you jump too much. They say you don't jump too much afam. That's why the thing is busy.
Okay, I don't hear. Okay, so a year after, I got information from the grapevine that you're going to come out for presidency, and I wrote a very scathing write-up against that position, very harsh on my column. And then Uwem calls me and says, no, now he's our person. I said, no. Nigeria don't pass out our person talk now. Do you understand? I do not believe in this person's capacity. I do not believe in his vision. I do not believe what he's trying to do. You get, I remember very well that Uwem was very, very upset with me and all of that. In fact, he didn't talk to me for a bit, but I said, man, I moved on, And then I met somebody else who mentioned it again. I think this person is a little bit more closer to you than Uwem is. And she spoke very glowingly about what you're trying to do. Do you get? I still was not totally convinced, and I also wrote another article again. This time a little bit mellow, but still harsh. And then I watched the Arise TV interview. And I listened very carefully to everything you said, and you're saying the things that some of us have been saying. Voter cohesion, a change in leadership, taking the battle at entrepreneurial leadership, allowing private wealth to take the upper hand in trying to rebuild this country. And, that interview just told I've just listened to your guy, and this is what I think. And he said, okay, in that area, and also called the other person also, and I told her, I said, look, I think this guy is saying something that is making sense to me. Can you try to the same thing? And yes, a lot of pushback, a lot of whatever. And I must say that I'm very, very, very happy that we had this session. I think that this session is beginning to show that we're on the right path. We may not totally succeed by 2023, pushing like this. By 2027, we would be able to achieve what we're trying to achieve. And like I rightly said, it's as if you're just talking very the divine way, because it's the thing I've been saying since. I've been saying 40% of state houses of assembly, 40% of Senate, 40% of the House of Rep. You guys should go into new leadership. That way, we will strengthen oversight. So, Mr. Abiola, I want to thank I do this. I want to be part of that process. If you are declaring anywhere in the Southwest, you let me know. I will come fiscally so that I can write from a point of, from a practical point, not from a theoretical point of view. Like, I write a column for this day every Sunday, which is very well read by everybody that matters in this country. And my views are very independent, very strong, which makes it very, very credible. So I want to be close to your campaign. I may not be part of the PRP just yet, but I like the vision. I like the outlook. I like the confidence. I like the boldness. I also like the fact that we want to leverage on what happened in the past to rebuild our present so that we can secure the future for our children. Thank you, Mr. Abiola. God bless you.
God bless you too. Thank you very much.
Okay, sir.
Thanks. Good night.
Thank you for this interesting session. See you next Sunday.